Okay. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. So, Edie on his YouTube channel did a video titled Tupac and Quincy Jones Career Changing Meeting with Big Plans. Now, when I asked you about this originally, I had stated that Edie said that Tupac was not going to do the death row thing anymore. In his latest video, he did clear up the Makaveli Records distributed through Death Row thing, but he mentioned that he was misquoted. So I wanted to read exactly what his quote was.
Now, we ain't going to read exactly what he said. We're going to play exactly what he said.
Maybe I'll get into some of that, man. It'll be quite interesting, I'm sure, for a lot of you to hear some of his plans that he had planned for Quincy Jones and that eventual connection. I will say this though, it didn't involve Death Row. Not at all. It did not involve Death Row. Tupac absolutely stated that Suge would always be his homeboy. He would always have love for Suge. You know, Suge might even still play a role as far as in management, but Death Row as a label, nah, that was over.
So I wanted to see if you saw his response, Reggie, technically to your response, and if you had any thoughts about the clarity that he made in that video.
And I'm being misquoted in a lot of different ways. One particular way is that I said that Tupac was leaving Death Row. I want to be clear. I never said that. You can go back to the video and listen to it. And if you listen to it and listen to it clearly, you will hear I never said that. You won't hear me say Tupac left Death Row because Pac's plan was to do a Wu-Tang type situation with us, where Young Noble had a solo deal over at QWest. The Outlawz would be put out via Makaveli Records, which was going to be distributed by Death Row Records.
Yeah, well, if you listen to it and you heard it, that's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. Okay, but hey, maybe he was being vague. Maybe he was doing what Reggie Wright does when you kind of do stuff for cliffhangers, because he did end it that way, right? But hey, man, shout out to Edie and his TV channel. Me and John are very, very much, and Bomb First is very, very much supporters of what Edie is doing over there. If y'all don't know, me and John been trying to direct y'all over there. We done did about 2 or 3 videos saying, hey, for Tupac stories and the stories behind the music and stuff like that, y'all need to go over to Edie's channel and listen, because he's doing a great job of telling behind the scenes stories. Now, so that's all I was just saying when I say that there was things that was going on, because he's right. He said in his response video to me that Reggie, wasn't privy to the conversations that him and Tupac and them was having. 100% right. But he wasn't privy to conversations that I was overhearing Suge and Tupac have, i.e. them negotiating a deal for Makaveli Records, who I can tell y'all amounts that they were talking about for his label and how much he was going to be getting monthly and all of that. And he kind of talked about that. If y'all really listen, me and Edie has not spoken since we did the live stream with John and myself about, maybe at least 5 or 6 years ago. But I have texted him a couple of times, especially I do remember the time when after he had his heart attack situation, to tell him I was praying for him and wish him a speedy recovery. And I texted him saying that. I don't even remember if he responded or not, so I don't know if he got it or not. But other than that, Edie and I haven't had any conversations. But I'm always has been supportive of what Edie is doing as a channel. And even John has reached out to him and was going to try to do some interviews with him a couple of times. and I don't know what happened. You know, we didn't. You know, the schedules just didn't come up, and so we have been a supporter of what ED does over here at Bomb First. So all of y'all that's over there, that's saying, well, he's changing his tune, he's doing this, Reggie must have called him and making it. No, it's just that these niggas are the truth. Y'all get all this information from motherfuckers that had nothing to do with Tupac's life, such as, I'm not gonna call people by disrespectful names, but Del Rey today, RJ&J Mix used to put out, and who else? And Yasmin, the one time that she kind of said something, you know, because that me and David was fired because of a letter. Okay, if we got that letter, we got that letter, right? That email. Because Suge and Tupac was probably arguing and spatting over something. But that don't explain why I'm still with him. I can't understand how y'all that keep pushing, oh, he fired Reggie. I still to this day don't understand. I done showed y'all about 5 times what guys that work for Right Way Protective Services, not Frank, like you say, oh, well, he was going to just have Frank go work for him. Frank wasn't even working. Frank first day back for over a month and a half, or at least from the day of the House of Blue concert. So when was that? July 3rd, July the 4th, was with him the day that he got shot. That was his first day back, seeing Tupac, talking to Tupac. So what was that, September the 6th, September the 7th? His first time talking to Tupac. So, you know, I don't know. It just bothers me that y'all let people go and just create stuff and tell stuff because they're trying to build up their documentaries or their YouTube channel from what their opinions, from what they read. Me, on Suge Knight's side, Edie, Napoleon, even Noble, Castro, and all of them. Not even Fatal. Fatal wasn't even around Tupac in those last days except for that time, you know, in the day of the incident at the MTV Awards. But those guys like that, even Yasmin, those are the people that knew what was going around in that last month of Tupac's life and what was going on and what was being said. Now, I know some stuff, but all I'm here to say is Edie confirmed what I've been saying the whole motherfucking time, is that Suge was setting a distribution. He was trying to have as a distribution label himself, not through Interscope, but he was going to be putting out and was getting a label where he can go to different companies as a distributor, not the deal that he had with Interscope and MC8 at the time, or Universal Music Group, y'all know as now. He was having MC Hammer set up something called Hammer Time Record. Snoop Dogg, Doghouse Records. He had Tupac, Makaveli Records. He had Eric B. and this dude named Big D was going to be running and doing something for Death Row East, not no Tupac Shakur. It was going to be Suge Knight's, but it was going to be but Eric B. and Big D was going to be running Death Row East because they had relationships on the East Coast. And that was mainly because, if y'all want to keep it real, because that's what Def Jam was starting to talk about, that Def Jam West. Y'all want to keep it real. That's what they was biting off of. That's what they was getting back at. And plus the fact that Tupac was alienating the East Coast, and he was smart enough to realize, wait a minute, we don't need a whole war with the East Coast. It's just certain motherfuckers from the East Coast that I got a problem with. So y'all stop chiming in with a motherfucking opinion. That's his words in the song. So, yeah, Edie's right. Edie's right. And then Pac was going to do something with QWest and Quincy Jones and all of that. That wasn't no secret. Y'all try to act like Suge didn't know about that, or he was going to do something with them. What, I don't know. But Pac wasn't going over there as no label, as no artist. Quincy Jones' deal was with Time Warner at the time, Warner Brothers. Y'all go and research the history of how Warner Brothers was feeling about rap music in 1996. Y'all go research and learn. And stop listening to motherfuckers on YouTube that don't know what they're talking about. That's putting this stuff in your head. But what Edie said, I have no offense. I take no offense to anything he said in that video. If you really listen to what he's saying. That yeah, he had a deal or going to have a deal with Quincy on some separate shit. Young Noble, I guess he was going to have Young Noble as a clean artist or something. I don't know. But he was still fucking with Suge with Makaveli Records. Y'all look at the chart that John always referred to, that he found at the exhibit and all of that. So that would be my response. For those of y'all that are trying to cause beef between Bomb First and Edie, it's not going to happen. I think he did a great job of cleaning it up as much as he knew. And the only reason I respond and got that response was because I knew of the difference between Makaveli and the Quest situation. Now, as far as Tupac, him saying that Tupac wasn't going to be rapping that much and he was going to have, that he felt the two disc, the double disc was two albums and all of that. I mean, nobody was even thinking of that. That was the first time a double album for rap was being done. Y'all done heard of rap, double CDs being done now and all that. But it was very, 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 very rare prior to 1996 that anybody did double. I'm not saying that they wasn't done, but it was very rare. And nobody has ever thought, Suge Knight definitely ain't never thought that was going to be counted as a double album. The shit about Makaveli, we all know that was just something for the streets. That was going to be a mixtape. So to say that Tupac was, and then he was going to just give them One Nation, well, no. They were working out a deal. They were in negotiation. I would get anyone that knows. I don't know who could knows. Can't wait till the goddamn Suge Knight get off of that one talk about hip hop and all of that, and answer the questions that needs to be answered. But why was Suge was offering him $75,000 a month for Makaveli Records? Why, if they wasn't going to continue to be doing business? They were in the process of doing that contract. Doghouse, Snoop could tell it. His was $50,000 a month for Doghouse Records. I don't know what Hammer was going to be, but y'all done heard Nusso talking about he was going to be on the label. Y'all done heard that many a times on Hammer Time Records and all of that. But hey, and y'all done heard the stories about Death Row East. Death Row East was something new. It never really got off the ground, so I'll admit that. All they probably did and had done was a thought and some T-shirts and a sign. That was probably the most that was done for Death Row East. I will agree. I will acknowledge that. But I don't know, y'all. It's kind of getting crazy to repeat, because who knows? But Tupac did talk about, man, if y'all want to keep it real, and I can't wait till Suge start talking about this shit and answer the real questions. Tupac didn't even, when he was in fucking prison, he didn't even want to, he was talking about coming home, not even rapping no more until him and Suge started talking. He was giving up the motherfucking music business and all that. And so I remember Suge was saying, like, why people keep saying that and all of that? He said, shit, Pac wasn't even think. So All these people that talking about they gonna come bail him out, like Jay Prince and this person and that. I don't even heard some, man, I done heard so many people say they were gonna bail him out and all that. He said Tupac was talking about not even rapping when he was in prison. That he was giving up rap. He was mad at the world that why he was in prison for that. Couldn't believe that black folks had did him the way that they did. But it's Suge's story to tell, because that was conversations between him and Tupac. But yeah, that would be my take, John. I know you may have some follow-up things because you study this stuff more deeply. And so I appreciate anything that I miss if you'll ask me about Jay.
Yeah, the only thing, just because people in the comments were saying, Snoop was going to do Doggy Style Records, not Doghouse. But
You're right.
Yeah, I know that's just a simple thing. But one thing Edie did talk about was he talked about a story when you brought some publishing contracts over to the Outlawz, and he thought that it was very stand-up of you that you told them when you gave them the contracts, hey, you don't have to sign these. I'm just presenting these to you. Do you remember that incident?
Man, I wish people would tell more stories like that of how Reggie was back in the 90s. Reggie was always the voice of reason, to be like, hey, man, this is what I'm supposed to be giving y'all. This is what, we doing. But your residency at this house, or you ain't going to get kicked off if you ain't going to sign this stuff. This is just what I'm told to present to y'all. If y'all want to do it, y'all can do it. If y'all don't, y'all don't. One thing that I knew about them is Pac had always taught them never to sign over any of their publishing and their music publishing or anything that to anybody, unless it was a big, big advance. The reason why we were trying to do it, because we knew of all the songs that he had. Now, I hope y'all don't get stuff confused or mixed up, because I know I got stories out there where I told y'all I took the agreements to them and they signed. It's two different times, y'all. Y'all got to understand this was two different time periods with the Outlawz. A lot of this stuff happened in 97, 98. No, I'm sorry, 97. Well, yeah, maybe some of 98. Before we decided to do the Still I Rise album in 99. And so we did. We had them to leave the house and all of that. I did say they were nasty. They were young. It was 4 or 5 guys staying in a nice house and young. Of course, some people not going to be as clean as you will when you're staying with mama and all of that. And you're a little older or whatever. Or if it's just you and your family. So, yeah, I made those statements about them. Mutal laughed when he heard about it. Somebody asked him about it, and he agreed to it. But that's not going to let us, we're not going to get distracted. Because I know that's all y'all can go back and tell. I seen in some of the comments sections about an Edie. Reggie said y'all were nasty. Huh? Why you defending him? He defended me because it's the truth. But, yes, that happened. And yes, we did sign them to a deal later on in 99 once we made an agreement with the estate for Still I Rise to come out. Suge is Suge. Suge was adamant. Told them that album ain't coming out unless they're signed to Death Row, meaning the Outlawz. And that's when they signed. I don't know if they knew the politics behind it between Death Row, Amaru, and Interscope. I don't know how that went down, but I know I gave them the contracts when they came in with Big G, Edie's cousin, I believe it was. Cool dude. Like I said, once again, I said before, haven't talked to Big G, but shout out Big G. He really looked out. He really helped a lot of the transitions between us and the Outlawz go smooth, or at least myself and the Outlawz. But hey, y'all remember? I'm just the janitor. The janitor doing all of that shit, right? I love when stuff like this get validated. So that janitor was a bad motherfucker, wasn't he? Peace.